Okay. You mentioned healthcare. My question is concerning healthcare. The way I see it today, the problem with our healthcare system can be summed up in two words: big business. So long as they are in the healthcare system, they're always going to be concerned with the bottom line and not the health and well-being of the people. So I want to know what your plan is and how it puts the health and well-being of people ahead of these big businesses, bottom lines, and these CEOs, bonus.
Sure. What we suggested doing in our healthcare plan was to create roughly 3 plans: a basic plan, family plan, and what we call the, well, more expensive plan. What it would be is largely a prevention-based plan that includes the current mandates that are authorized under statute. What I mean by a prevention plan is this. You get sugar, diabetes, right? The current plan compensates. You have to go into surgery and have some toes removed. It'll pay for that. If you got to go for dialysis, it'll pay for that. Of course, you know, sugar could be largely avoided. Controlling diet, weight, and exercise. Current medical plans doesn't cover that. It'll cover the far more expensive things that diminish your quality of life, you know, but doesn't cover the other thing. A plan that focuses on prevention. Creation of a large pool that small business, individuals, kids coming out of college can join. Right now, I work for the city of New Haven, as you've been able to figure out. I employ 5,100 people. I insure 14,000 lives. I am Anthem's second biggest customer. When we call Anthem, we get our call returned. Say you're a small professional corporation that employs 5 or 6 people. Maybe you buy through the chamber and they give you a discounted rate. Won't get his call returned. Doesn't have the capability to put in place a plan that's prevention-based, creates incentives. You have none of the benefits of value with 5 or 6 people or 5 or 6 lives insured, and someone with 14,000 lives has insured. What we suggested as a way to do it is that the employee would pay 20%. The employer would pay 80%. Our rate came out to about $280 a month for an individual. The employer paying 80%, the employee paying 20%. We suggested that if you were under 300% of federal poverty level, which means you're a family of 4 making less than $50,000, is a better way to say it, that on a sliding scale, you'd get that paid for by the state. Where would the state get the money to do that? This place. That's estimated to cost $350 million. Where would we get the money to do it? There's about $700 million in exemptions from the corporate income tax. These are loopholes that have been created. How do they get created? You hire a lobbyist for your business and you create it. Some maybe that's too cynical for some of them, but I'll leave it there. But we want business to be able to do this. Now, pretty much everything we described has got similarities to Massachusetts. But what Massachusetts did is said, if you're a business, you've got to sign up or you've got to pay a fine. We said it a different way. If you're a small business, 50 people or less, and you offer this plan to your employees, your corporate income tax rate, where we just took away those loopholes, would go from 7.5% to 0. 7.5% to 0. We said if you're a larger business, who probably won't join this because you'll be like us, you'll have another plan in place, and you pay 5% of the equivalent of 5% of your payroll for health care for your employees. So if you're a big business and you pay the equivalent of 5% of your payroll for your employees' health care, we'll cut your corporate income tax rate from 7.5% to 3.75%. Basically cut it in half. What's this? Using the corporate income tax structure to encourage companies to do what? Provide health care for their employees. And what it does, instead of having a system driven by loopholes, driven by that, because you know, the corporate income tax in this state raises $500 million. Right? You know, the property tax generates $7.8 billion. The sales tax and personal income tax each generate $500 million. You know, 2/3 of the businesses in the state pay no corporate income taxes. And you know, particularly the very large ones are much less likely to pay than the little guys. So prevention-based, creation of a large pool. Because it's a standard plan, it's removed from employer to employer, or from employer to unemployment. You can take it with you, like you know how you take your Social Security with you? That's called portability, so you don't get denied when you go work for a new employer. And I'll just say this, the more point to your point, the reason why the federal government is never going to lead on this is exactly the reason that you said. The interests are too powerful, too large, and too able to have their way with this kind of issue. And you know, what will make it work in Connecticut is this. I believe it reflects the values of our state to do this. I want to say that I would guess most of us would be proud to say that it's the right thing to do, that when people lose their jobs, they shouldn't lose their medical benefits, that it's not the right thing to see people's medical benefits eroded year after year after year. That's not what this state is about. And that's exactly, again, exactly what the choice of the candidates is here. I'm the only candidate to have articulated a plan for universal health care. It's one of the first things I did, and to me it speaks exactly to that point I was making, using government to make a difference in people's lives. You travel roads other people paved. This is the distinction between us and them, between Democrats and Republicans. We get that. We don't forget where we came from. At least most of the time. At least most of the time.
Questions? John, thank you.
Guys, thanks for staying up. You guys are amazing.